So first off is Facebook. Um, Honestly, at this point, they're probably the biggest social media platform, at least in a more traditional sense. Users have a personal profile. They add people they know, interact with them by sharing anything from personal thoughts to photos and articles. Um, it's basically, the two big ones, when they, the early days, it was MySpace, Facebook, because they both basically offered the same thing. Obviously, Facebook beat out MySpace. And since then, they've kind of taken the lion's share of that traditional social media. This is who you are, basically, on the internet. Jobs. These are your jobs you had. These are the schools you've gone to. These are your likes, interests. And all that has radically changed over the years. But I think Facebook has ultimately become synonymous with social media. So, because we could spend honestly an episode on each one of these platforms, I'm going to be a little brief and kind of hit the main points for each one of the platforms. So, Facebook. I think the first thing to talk about would be pages. Especially looking at from an artist standpoint. Facebook pages have kind of been used from everything from brands to influencers, public figures, politicians, etc. I think it is a useful platform, but honestly, it has become less so in these later days of social media. In the past, it's been a great platform to share content. I think it would still be foolish not to have a Facebook page for your as an artist or a record label or whatever you are, but Facebook has essentially kind of shifted the organic growth and ability to grow a page organically. They obviously are a business. They need to make money. So now you can obviously have a page. It's free. Put your content on there. You can have a movie as your banner, or your background image. There's still a lot of stuff you can do. You can track metrics and kind of see your reach. But back in the day, your posts that you would share on your Facebook page, not your personal page, but your artist page, would reach the people who've liked your page. It still reaches people now, but it's less prioritized. So Facebook essentially, at least from my understanding, although I haven't done a lot of research, but based on the kind of the general consensus of a lot of people who are out there really trying to figure out social media and leverage it, basically now if you want your content from your Facebook page to really get out there, you have to boost the posts and you have to kind of pay money to kind of get your exposure out there. So it's no longer as easy to organically reach people with your Facebook page without people sharing your content. So it's still useful. I still see especially some political pages and some meme pages grow pretty fast and have a lot of people and a lot of interaction, but it is harder if you're not constantly posting content that people want to share always. And that's a lot of it because honestly, the Facebook algorithm has deprioritized pages. So pages are still useful. You can sell merchandise. You can have reviews if you're kind of like a business. There's still a lot of stuff that you can do with a page. It's a good kind of hub, but it probably won't grow as fast as some of the other platforms that are out there. On the other hand, Facebook has a thing called groups, and groups have been prioritized. So I think it was a couple months back, Facebook even had like a banner that basically said, all in on groups. And so I think that's important to consider. And I think it honestly makes sense. Pages will probably take people away from Facebook, whereas groups really keep people in Facebook. And as like any social media platform, they don't want you to leave because that's how they make money. That's how they can get their sponsored content in front of you. They can show that there's a lot of users at any given point, and then they can basically leverage that data with advertisers and kind of, prove to advertisers that you should be advertising on their platform. And honestly, all of the social media platforms are really have the same mindset, because that's how they're going to grow as a company. But I think Facebook groups are useful. Obviously, you kind of have to figure out how they are useful for you as an artist. I know, for example, on my YouTube page, I do tutorials, so I was trying to figure out, hey, how do I get people to come to my YouTube videos, and how do I get people kind of sharing their own YouTube videos? And what I've created it's a very small group, but I created a kind of a small Facebook group kind of centered around YouTube production tutorials and content kind of adjacent to that. And so the whole goal is share your favorite YouTube videos that help you learn how to produce music. And obviously it gave me a platform to share mine, to kind of get people to see my videos. And then hopefully I could obviously watch some stuff that other people have shared. So groups are useful. Now, as an artist, again, you may have to leverage it almost adjacently to your artist profile, but at least if you have like a group sharing stuff that maybe isn't directly related to your content, but is close enough that it kind of keeps people interested and active. And obviously, if you've played your cards right, you've got your name associated with it, so it constantly keeps your name in the mind of your fans. And if it's active, people are going to want to invite their friends and share with people who have similar interests, and it'll help you kind of organically grow. Also, live, that's another facet of Facebook. I mean, there's a lot of facets of Facebook, but live is another useful one. I think live is a little bit more straightforward in its usefulness to artists, at least, when it comes to kind of getting people to see you and your content. Now, live used to, I feel like, be a little more popular maybe a few years ago. It's kind of dwindled. At least from what I've seen, I don't see a ton of people going live all the time on my Facebook. It might be different for you, but that's at least my perception. But I think it's still a good opportunity if you could figure out a way of kind of going live on a number of platforms to kind of share out your content, get fans, no matter if maybe they're big Facebook users, maybe you have some fans that are big Instagram users, some fans that are big YouTube users. If you can figure out a way of kind of cross-platform streaming, then you can go live at the same time, produce content that kind of goes to all these different platforms and really kind of engage with your audience. And I think that's the usefulness of live, is you want people interacting with you, sharing that, the single that you're about to release, and kind of making this exclusive experience. And you can get direct feedback right there from your fans, whether it's love or criticism. So those are kind of the big ones. Pages, groups, live are the big ones for Facebook. There are other ones. Maybe we'll talk about them in the future. But those are the ones that I think it's important to think about when talking about Facebook.